Everybody please rise for a salute to the flag. Lieutenant Robbins, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, actually, please remain standing. Brandon, you want to?
Can I have a moment of silence for Bathsheba Young that passed away? Also Dale Jean Robinson.
Berenson. Okay, thank you. So they say time stands still in a small town, and in Fallsburg that's the case because it's still 1:45, which it was last week.
But it's right twice a day.
It is right twice a day. All right, Paula, there were 3 people talking when I sat down, so what do you want to read the notice or?
No, you're just gonna follow that thing that I gave you, because you're gonna start with introducing it, then I'll read the public hearing, and then you're gonna open the meeting.
I'm not following. Well, let's have a motion to, do I have a motion to?
No, hold on, no, wait, hold on,
No,
you have
wait,
to do it
no.
in this order.
Okay.
Cheat sheet. So you're gonna say this, and then I'll read, and then you're gonna open.
We're like a team.
Yeah.
Public hearing to consider a proposed Town of Fallsburg Local Law Number 3 of 2026, Town of Fallsburg Right to Farm. Town of Fallsburg Town Board meeting Wednesday, July 1st, 2026 at 6 p.m.
Motion.
Second.
No, you're not making a motion.
No.
You have to say that, and then I have to say my part.
Well,
You're gonna get your
typically we
motion.
don't open the,
Yeah, I'm just doing it the way it's.
okay, you do.
Okay, so legal notice, Town of Fallsburg, notice of public hearing. Notice of public hearing is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Fallsburg will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, July 1st, 2026, 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter, as a hearing may be convened at the Town Hall Meeting Room at 19 Railroad Plaza, South Fallsburg, New York, 12779, at which time all persons interested will be heard relative to public hearing to consider proposed Town of Fallsburg Local Law 3 of 2026, Town of Fallsburg Right to Farm Law. Copies of the local law described above are on the file at Town Clerk's Office of the Town of Fallsburg, where the same are available to public inspection during regular office hours. Please take notice that all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard on said proposed local law at public hearing. Should you have any questions in this regard, please feel free to contact Fallsburg Town Clerk Paula Grogan at 845-434-8810, extension 316. The public may participate via video conference as follows, and then it gives the Zoom link. And this is by order of the Town Board of the Town of Fallsburg and signed by me. So now you're gonna open it up.
With a motion.
Motion.
With the second.
Can we start over with our, and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, you want me to read this, Paul?
Do you want to read the letter? You can read the letter from Jerry, because you're going to open it up for public comment.
Okay. So,
Hand it down.
Chairman Nate and board members from Jerry Skoda. Agriculture, same thing. Agriculture in the town of Fallsburg. The agricultural economy in the town of Fallsburg is a multi-million-dollar business. Fallsburg contains more Class 1 agricultural soils than most towns in Sullivan County. Class 1 is the highest measure of soil quality. A few examples of Fallsburg farms. Thunderview Farm is the largest Angus beef farm in New York State, 350 head, and sell 30,000 hay bales per year, and they grow most of their feed for the herd, plus hay for sale in the town of Fallsburg. Skoda Farms, hay and vegetables, largest farm supplier of vegetables for Single Bite Liberty and St. Peter's Food Pantry Liberty. Orton Farm, Kelly Corton, Large acres of organic vegetables, sells mostly at New York City green markets. Amy and Pete Carey just developed a new roadside marketing business for direct farm products, plus a horse training farm. John Allison, egg production, Majestic Farm livestock and fruit. A number of horse farms for pleasure therapy plus racehorses. A number of farms sell at the area farm markets and other farm products including Christmas trees. Even large institutions have farming in Fallsburg, the Center for Discovery at Mateer Road, SUNY Sullivan with New Hope, and the Woodburn Correctional Facility, farmland and town water. And there is agribusiness. Murray's Chicken, 2 blocks from here, the largest poultry processor in New York State. Newburgh Egg Corp, the 2nd largest egg producer in New York State. And Formaggio Cheese, which is a cheese producer in New York State. The right to farm legislation is one of the simplest things you could do to recognize one of the most important businesses in the town of Fallsburg, with one of the biggest benefits being the posting of signs for safety and awareness. Other speakers will tell you more about this important legislation. Thank you. And that was from Jerry Skoda. Take this back and enter it.
You have one?
Okay, so let's open it up to the rest of the public. Who do we have?
So I have, for this public hearing, I have Deborah Kelly.
Hello.
I have some questions about the right to farm law.
Okay.
I just want to understand, how does it impact any existing zoning laws?
Richard, you want to?
Does it change anything? Does it supersede the existing zoning laws?
No.
So it doesn't give anyone the right to say they're a farm when they're in violation of existing zoning laws that prevent them from being a
No,
farm?
what this law does, and it's under state law, you're allowed to pass a right to farm law which protects farmers who are engaged in usual and customary farming activities from unreasonable interference from anyone else. So for example, if you have a farm and it has cattle and hay and noise, and these are appropriate farming actions, you can't buy a house next door and say, you need to shut this farm down because it's noisy and smelly. That's essentially what it is. It also adds notice on the website and in contracts in ag districts where you're supposed to disclose to buyers that it's an ag zone and you may be confronted with agricultural activities, odors and other things. There may be tractors. It enables the town to put up some signage. It basically codifies state law that as long as you're engaged in appropriate farming activity, that you're not going to be unreasonably interfered with by the municipality.
Okay, I understand that, and let me just say, I am not against farming, legitimate farming. You guys all know who I am, you know why I'm here, and that's why I'm asking this question. We've been fighting the illegal pot farm across the street from us for years now. Doesn't seem like anything's being done. I want to make sure the basis for them not being allowed to do this is they don't have 10 acres. They're required by zoning law to have a minimum of 10 acres for any agricultural operation. This does not supersede that, correct? And will not change anything, and they can't come in and try to use this as a defense to say, oh, we're legal now. We're allowed to do it. Because if it does, I am vehemently opposed.
It does not.
Okay, because it doesn't seem like much is being done about that, to be honest with you. What else do I have on here? I know you guys are tired of seeing me and hearing from me, but, you know, we're kind of tired of seeing nothing being done. And maybe something is, but we don't see it. So better communication at minimum would be needed if something really is being done about this pot farm. The other question I had, you guys are having this public hearing now to discuss this, but item 10 on your agenda is a resolution to approve it. So the decision's already been made, I guess? So what's this public hearing, just window dressing so we can pretend like you guys listen to us and our thoughts matter?
No,
We the taxpayers?
Someone could vote no. At the end, it's just on the agenda.
And we've had probably more discussions on this town law in public, in front of the public, with the public involved, than probably any other local law that I remember in many years of being on this board.
Okay, well, I was not aware of those, I don't know when they were, I'm not, gonna argue with that.
If anything, I
If I had known
feel,
about them, I would have been here because of my issue.
I mean, we publish our agendas, and I'm sorry I didn't know, but if anything, I honestly feel bad that we've dragged our feet on this particular law for so long. So,
Well, and like I said, I'm not opposed to this law for, to protect the farmers, the legitimate farmers.
I understand
I wanna
it.
make sure it
It
doesn't
seems
enable
like
the
you're,
illegitimate farmers.
it sounds like you're upset, and I understand why, but there are two very separate issues. This is not going to enable the pot farm.
Well, that's why I'm here tonight, I wanna make sure they're
It
two
is,
separate
it
issues.
is not. We've had legitimate
That was my-
Her
farmers.
time is up.
Yeah. We've had legitimate farmers in the town come to us. This is something that's very important to them, and it's,
And I don't disagree
And
with
it's
that,
important to
like I
us
said, for
because of that,
legitimate
so.
farmers.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
People I'm
to keep
asking
interrupting,
are not
we have to
legitimate.
follow the
Okay.
3-minute
Yeah.
rule. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next.
Any other public comments? Anyone online?
I have Amy Parkley, Perry. Amy, you need to unmute.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for bringing this up. Thank you, Deborah, for bringing up your concerns. I absolutely hear you. We are neighbors. So we are Maple Woods Farm, and I own my husband and I own 192 acres in the town of Fallsburg, and we are a legitimate farm. So as Jerry Skoda said in his letter and a few months ago, we do have an agribusiness right there on Divine Corners. We've opened up a farm stand, and we have many, many neighbors bringing in their agricultural products to sell, which is great. I have a large horseback riding lesson program, and we also do a lot of hay. Not as much as the Coombs, but we do a substantial amount of hay to feed our herds of horses and beef cows. And I'm up and down Divine Corners on a tractor all the time. In fact, I'm thrilled that the Sunoco station is now in Loch Sheldrake, and they have off-road diesel. I definitely took my tractor and disc bind there the other day. So, most appreciated. So, as Richard said, the right to farm is put in place. All 50 states have right to farm, and each state can have variables on their laws. But it is there to protect legitimate farms who are following the laws, the zoning laws and regulations, against frivolous lawsuits. So we do have a camp directly across the road from our large property on Divine Corners. And so far it's been a pretty amicable relationship. They have absolutely jumped our fence a few times, and we've had to go have conversations with Rabbi Moses about that and trespassing. But and that's kind of what I'm talking about for right to farm is we have the right to fence our property. We have the right to put our livestock there. I have the right to mow hay. I have the right to burn hay if I need. And we had to do that the last 2 years because thunderstorms have unfortunately ruined the crop, and there's no point in spending more money in diesel fuel than trying to pick it up. So, and we have had people come on the property saying your hay is on fire. I know I'm standing right here and I'm a firefighter and control knows. So it's things like that. I have the right to do that. What I need is for the town to recognize that essentially and support me. So when phone calls come in like, Amy's cows stink. Yep, they sure do. That's just the way it is. So I have the right to have cows and horses and goats and chickens because I have the acreage that I have, and we are in an agricultural zone. This does not protect the pot farming quotation marks on Burt Ridge Road. They are, and I'm not on the boards, but this does not apply to them. And you guys will do hopefully what you need to do to rectify that situation. But when I was building my horse barns and whatnot, we absolutely came to the planning board. We came to the zoning board. We had to get a variance because I only had 8 acres. And we did have Greg come over and all sorts, Steve Burke come over and inspect and take a look. And we are so well laid out and well run. There was no problem and we got approval. But we have gone to the proper channel.
Amy, it's Paula. Your time is up.
Okay, thank you very much for your consideration. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
That's all I have on mine.
All right, so I just want to make a matter of record, in accordance with the general municipal law of the state of New York, section 239, This matter was submitted to the county planning department for a review, and we did receive a review letter back. Yes, it was dated yesterday, June 30, 2026. Attention, the supervisor on the board, and it indicates that it reviewed the local law. The applicant was the town board. The geographic qualification was agricultural district, and the referral also included a look by the Sullivan County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, and there were some comments attached, and their recommendation was local determination with technical comments. Planning supports the development of a right to farm law and encourages the town to follow through the comments offered by the Sullivan County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. And these are comments that have been made consistent with the past, and they are recommending they wanted to make sure that the board knows that there's really no standing list of state-approved practices, and they are concerned that it protects only against, or only protects sound agricultural practices, and it has several updates which I haven't had a chance to review. One update is the town's presumption in favor of sound agricultural practices is meant to guide local decisions. It adds to but does not replace the state authority under Section 308 of the Agricultural and Markets Law to make official determinations. The parties may still request review from the state where appropriate, so that's an addition to Section 227-7. And then there's a suggested update to Section 227-10 regarding complaints, and this is to clarify the sound agricultural practice. What they want to add is adding a formal mediation framework, including defined committee structure, member composition, clear timelines, and a decision-making process to help resolve conflicts consistently and efficiently. And they suggested this is a technical comment with regard to nearby farm activities requiring a 500-foot database in connection with special use permits, site plan approvals, use variances, subdivision approvals. So if the board wants to consider the law as drafted, it can be passed. If you want me to take a look at this and do a more detailed review, I haven't had time to do it. It only came in handed just before the meeting. So that's we do have a resolution passing as it stands, or we can amend it based on the technical comments from the plan. Okay. Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, next is supervisor's report. So I go back and forth with whether I want to justify. Yes.
Didn't other people? I signed up for public comment.
You're signing up for
Citizens
regular
comment, not
public
done. Oh, not
comment,
for that
not
part.
for the
Okay.
public hearing.
Did you want to speak on the first issue of right to farm?
I
or is-
did.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
thought you were signing up for.
There's two lists,
That's
it's
okay.
fine.
That's
Come on
fine.
up.
Thanks.
What's your name, ma'am?
Christina Gillette? I live on Reynolds Road, across from what is now Maplewood Farms.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to stand in support of this bill. They have been fantastic neighbors. Life has improved at my place since they moved in, less trespassing. I love seeing farm things happen. They're just really been great neighbors, so I just wanted to speak actually in support of something here. I saw something about signs for the tractors. If you could get some on Reynolds Road, that'd be fantastic. Because I do worry about the tractor going by at tractor speed. We get speeders all the time. And so that would be great if that was part of this.
Okay, thank you.
That's it, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, back to the supervisor's report. So, a lot of times I see things online, and unfortunately I have not been able to drop going on social media, but it's toxic, and very often when the board is trying to be transparent or give different messages to the town, very often those messages get twisted, and very much of what I read is often inaccurate. So twice this week, the first being I was asked about there was electric work being done by NYSEG on Route 42 by Stewart's, and I happened to be driving by on Thursday and Friday, and my understanding was that work was not supposed to take place once the season started on Thursday and Friday. So I had gotten a call from somebody that was concerned and said, I'm a bit surprised. From my understanding, it was not supposed to take place, the work on Friday. Immediately after that, I reached out to Matt McPhillips, who is like our NYSEG contact and rep. He was actually in the airport going on vacation, about to go through TSA, and he agreed. He goes, you know, the work was being done. Just to back up, the town was, the message I got confused was on Facebook. It said that town is irresponsible. How do they not know this work was going on? Every one of us knew the work was going on. The work was for us. The work was putting in a electric upgrade that's going to serve our upgrades on our sewer plant. So we, of course, were all aware of it. What I was not aware of, that they would be working on Friday. I spoke to Matt. Matt confirmed that it was a subcontractor working for NYSEG. He was going to reach out to them. He did. He called me back and said, you are correct. They are not supposed to be working on Friday, and that they'll be gone in 10 minutes. That job has since been finished, but if you look at Facebook, you know, it criticized all of us for not knowing that the work was being done, and that was just not the case. The second issue happened yesterday. There were some brownouts throughout the town Friday. I am not sure of the exact reason, some kind of overload or electrical problem. I'm waiting for an answer back, but because of that, and because of the very high temperatures that we started receiving today and are expecting tomorrow and both Friday, coinciding with the probably one of the busiest opening weekends of the summer, I was concerned that if we had any power fluctuations, our already very sensitive infrastructure, mainly water grid, not all of our wells have backup power, only some of them do. Right now, all of them are running at full force, and you know, we are keeping up, but it's not by much. So we put out a water notice saying please conserve, because watering lawns and doing some of the activities at this point with the risk that we're at, I was hoping to get the public. And again, it turned into, by a couple of my political critics, that I told the community that our water situation is not dire. And what I had said, and what I will continue to say, and it's not what I say, it's what our experts tell us, that our aquifer is healthy. So yes, we have a tremendous amount of water in the ground, probably more than most places on earth. We are very fortunate. Our water mains are aging. They're not large enough for the size that our town has become, and this is not a 2-month fix. We've applied for grants. We're planning on starting a construction project replacing these water mains in the fall after the season, but we are still vulnerable to potential losses of water if we're not careful. So the message was for that reason, and it was twisted that, oh, I say there's water and there's no water. So I want the public to know that we do have plenty of water based on the experts in the ground. Our trouble is getting it to our tanks and getting it to our users. So I just wanted to clarify that. And with that, we'll go into citizens' comments, general citizens' comments. So
Okay, let's start with Mary Adams.
To the chair. Thank you for those explanations. I really appreciate it. You don't have to give us explanations, but it's informative and it's helpful. I learned from them. I just had a couple of questions about the agenda, and I was just hoping you would have time to tell us a little bit more about it. Number 7, the developers agreement for Rosewood Estates condominium. I'm just interested in that. The resolution on authorizing water infrastructure. Well, I think I already know about that, but the Smart Communities grant is interesting to me. I'd be interested to know more details about Smart Communities grants. And that was it.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
what I'll do is when we get to each item, we'll
Give
try
a
to
little more.
explain, yes.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Ann Krasinski.
I'm one of 4 individuals here representing the Mountaindale Action Committee, and I want to speak specifically about the park opposite our post office. Just as a little bit of history, about 30 years ago, there were a group of about 30 citizens in the hamlet of Mountaindale that got together on several successive Sundays to discuss their vision for Mountaindale, what businesses they'd like to see, what they'd like Mountaindale to look like. And there were a lot of good ideas, some of which have come to fruition. The one thing that everybody agreed on was we wanted perennial gardens and we wanted trees. And that's how the Mountaindale Action Committee was born. And from that time on, over 25 years now, we planted crabapple trees opposite the post office. We had the maple trees planted in front of the high school. We had the Bradford pear planted next to the ice cream store. We've had trees planted on the corner of Main Street and Post Hill Road. We've worked on gardens and planned and planted and maintained gardens for 25 years. We're a small group of people, and we've put a lot of sweat equity into the town. In one day last year, the town parks department came in, completely destroyed the gardens and the park that we had opposite the post office, and tore down old growth trees that are irreplaceable. So we're here tonight because we want to know why this was done. Why would you take down old growth trees that provided shade and a beautiful canopy for people to enjoy a park? Who authorized such a thing? And more importantly, why was this done with absolutely no regard for the Mountaindale Action Committee, who has a pretty good handle on what the people of Mountaindale want? To not even tell us, let alone consult with us, was a slap in the face to all of us who worked so hard, but in particular to Erna and William Hutchinson, who were the backbone of that organization. If you're not familiar with the park I'm talking about, I beseech you to come and look at it. We can try and describe what we used to have, and what we have now is a bunch of benches on gravel with a chain link fence in the background. People have come and said that this now looks like a prison yard, and it's just as inviting as one. And planting 3 scrawny trees that may or may not provide shade in 30 years is small compensation for what we've lost. We are devastated in the hamlet of Mountaindale, and this has broken the back of this organization. And what we want to know tonight is what the town board is going to do to compensate us for that devastation. We may have some ideas for you, but we want answers to all of the issues that I raised here tonight. This shouldn't be new to Mr. Bensimon. You live in Mountaindale, as does our supervisor. I hand-delivered a letter to you outlining these grievances last year, and to which I never got the courtesy of a response. I'm told that this supervisor is much more compassionate and will actually come to the aid of those people, our town, and somewhat restore a beautiful park that is now gone forever.
Erna Hutchinson.
We really just wanted some consideration, because we weren't even called when they decided to take down the trees. What they replaced it with is, we know that trees, you can put that water bag around them so they can get water. The trees that they put there are just 3 trees that are struggling. They look terrible. There's no protection around them. They're not being fed. They took down the other plants. Of course, we didn't know. We came and it was gone. As slow as things go in Fallsburg, those trees were gone in a day. So there was no conversation. So we just want a little bit of consideration and some compensation, because we could make a beautiful perennial garden there. I think 2 days ago they put some little annuals in, of which the deer has eaten already. So it really looks like 2 litter boxes with terrible soil. it was such a beautiful space. And if they were replacing it, could have been done more beautifully just with our assistant, just asking. Now, I did, when it happened, I did speak to Arnold to say, what's going on? And apparently you got some kind of grant. They wanted to move the bulletin board and get something more modern. And I insisted, you cannot move our bulletin board, we need anything more modern. But if there was grant money, and the action committee has always put money into the rails to trails, then he could have offered us something to work on those two little areas. Even the trees that they moved, they just didn't take care of them. They need to be watered, new trees need to be watered. Somehow, there's no one with the knowledge to take care of plants. The trees that they put, the magnolias they put along the rails to trails, the way they were planted, they don't get water, they have not bloomed, and that's been years. So it just needs a little consideration, a little conversation, and hopefully, conversation so we can make something that's last. I know the Renaissance always wanted annuals, but they wanted this color. We have about 5 gardens down the rails to trails, and they're perennial. So if they're all getting old, and when we could not work on it, the gardens still survive and look well. So I'm just asking that we have some kind of conversation, some kind of meeting about this, and get this worked out.
Naomi Schmidt.
Hi, I live on 5 Post Hill Road, which is about 50, 100 feet down the slope from the park. So I have a pretty good vantage point, especially from my bedroom on the 2nd floor. I can see what's going on there. In fact, Arnold, I think you remember when the park was being uprooted, I ran up the hill and I said, what are you doing? And you and I had a conversation back and forth. I don't know why the bushes near the message board were ripped, beautiful bushes, were ripped up, don't know why. But everything was decimated. And at this point, I can say that definitely the pickleball court gets used, because I hear it all the time. Basketball court, now and then. There is one person in Mountaindale who shoots baskets twice a day. But the park, almost nothing. No one goes there. Why? Because it's, in my opinion, it's extremely unattractive. It doesn't draw people in. It does look like a prison yard. There's no shade. There's no beauty. There's no colors. There's nothing. There's no softness. It's a harsh environment. No one wants to spend their time there, and it's hot as anything because there's no shade anymore. And I think we really need to reevaluate what was done and what can we do to fix it. Because it's not being used. I mean, when you come down to it, whatever you paid for benches and tables is a waste of money because nobody uses it. And I hope you can do something. We can plant trees again and bushes and colorful things, some type of shade, a pavilion or something, to bring people in to enjoy it like they used to. Because I would watch them. There were lots of people using it. And not now. No one wants to. So that's feedback on what is the reality of the use. What was the outcome of this whole thing? It was a waste. Other than the pickleball court. I'll say people do enjoy that. But the rest, no. Nobody does.
So, I know Arnold, I think it's appropriate if Arnold answers his concerns because he was leading the Parks Department at the time that this project happened. So before Arnold speaks, first of all, I'm sorry as a town supervisor that all of this work that I very much appreciate, and my family's always been involved with the beautification committee in South Fallsburg. I know you put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and if what was done was destroyed, I apologize. It was not our intention. And I think that ultimately, now that you came to us, we'll be able to sit down and figure out what we could do to bring back some of what you feel was taken away. But what I would also like to add is, starting with Arnold and now with Harris, our Parks Department has never done a better job. They do a tremendous amount of work outside of just taking care of our parks, from cleaning up the roads, to beautification. So I know there's a sensitivity on your part, and I'm hoping Arnold can take a deep breath because I know there's sensitivity because the work that they did there, I think after he explains to you, you'll see some of it was necessary and they take pride in what they do too. But I will make sure that we're able to sit down and maybe replant some different things to make the community happy. With that, Arnold.
No,
Okay.
I want to speak first. I'm on the list, Paula.
I mean, you could speak.
No, it's about these issues.
Okay, you
Well,
can come up and have Arnold.
Okay, then you can come up and then he will
Yeah,
afterwards.
no, exactly, okay.
All right, Raymond Alonso.
I've lived in Mountaindale for 20 years. When I came there, that park was really a joy. There was beautiful cedar trees offering shade and, you know, just an elegant solution for a tough problem. When they cut down the trees, the word was from the Parks Department, well, the roots were tearing up the court. I live in New York City. Common problem. The solution is you cut away the roots that are tearing it up. That's good for 20 years. You didn't research alternate methods. No, and I looked at what the amount of root damage was. It was about 6 to 10 feet in 2 spots. So you didn't look for best practices. You didn't look for a practical concern. You just clear cut that town. You clear cut the crabapple trees. They were dying. No, they weren't dying. They never were pruned by the Parks Department. They need pruning. Okay, so we're gonna let that go. But let's talk to Nate's concern. The Parks Department is doing a good job. They put in flowers. The deer have eaten all the flowers. The Park Department doesn't know about deers. They don't know what plants that deers don't eat that they could put in. Don't tell me they know what they're doing. They don't. Second of all, 3 trees. They need 5 gallons of water every couple of days. Woodridge has a tank truck. They go around, they water the flowers, they water the plants. That's not happening here. Again, Nate, I'm not judging you. You know, it's a tough position to cover every detail. But when you do something, do it right. The Parks Department fucked up in the replanting. Simple as anything. Those trees are dying. Michelin went out today to put water on the cherry trees, 4 gallons. You know, what's she supposed to do? Do that every 3 days? There's 3 trees. And I can't believe you can't Google what plants deers do not eat.
So in regard to that, my
Okay.
wife
Yeah,
went out to a nursery
Yeah.
and bought several plants because the deer eat our plants like we're feeding them salad.
course, yeah.
We got a whole bunch of plants that are deer resistant, they're gone. They ate every single one.
so you've heard of fences? You've heard of fences?
And,
Okay,
yeah,
and that's not a big plot.
I'm just
I
saying
appreciate
that,
what you're
yeah.
saying, okay, but it's doable, okay, and this wasn't done. Okay, so that's all I want to say. Okay, but it was really criminal that they didn't consult the community. They did not have the right to make that decision. The bullshit about the basketball court being torn up by the roots of the trees was nonsense. It was fixable, okay, without destroying the trees. Okay, that's it.
I don't have anybody else. Is there anybody online?
No, yes, Pam Wagner. But, Pam.
Go ahead, Pam.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, hi everyone, I hope everyone is healthy and staying cool this summer. I was reviewing tonight's town board agenda and a few questions. I have a few questions. I'm simply trying to better understand the items before the meeting, but that's the end of that. Motion to approve the supervisor to sign the Frank Brown road agreement. Could you briefly explain what the town, what the Frank Brown road agreement is and what it accomplishes? The next one is motion to approve the supervisor to sign the developer's agreement for Rosewood Estates condominium. In general, what does signing a developer's agreement mean? What obligations or commitments does it establish between the town and the developer? Resolution 51 of 2026 authorizing the application for Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant. May I ask who is preparing the grant application, the amount of funding being requested, and what projects the grant would support? For example, would it be used for the water storage tanks, development of Box Shelter Well 1B, or another project? Resolution 52 of 2026 authorizing the application for New York State Climate Smart Communities Grant. who is preparing this grant application, how much funding is being sought, and what projects or initiatives would grant support. Thank you for your time and patience. I appreciate any information you are able to provide. Have a lovely evening, and I hope everyone is.
Thanks, Pam. Is there anybody else online?
No.
Okay,
Can I just ask one more question then?
you have to come up here and do it then.
No, of course, while we're on the Parks Department, and since I live in Mountaindale, can you get an update on what's happening at Mountaindale Park, and specifically with the Mountaindale Park pool?
So that's another rumor. I got several calls, you're selling Mountaindale Park. Well, that is news to all of us. We are not. Our pool needs over $1 million in repairs, and at this point, we're directing people to, at this point, use the Morningside pool.
Is it the intention of the board to repair the pool, replace the pool, or just?
We have not made that decision yet. There is no repairing the pool. It's replace or not. It's been welded so many times and patched that that's not an option anymore, so.
Yeah, well, I remember when I swam there often, and Henry always used to say the happiest day of his summer was the day he could shut it down, so.
Yeah.
But I know it's a nice.
I think it was the pool was in disrepair 25 years ago. We patched and.
Yeah, we did keep it going, but the pump house caved in, so it's beyond repair. Just to slightly address, I know it's sensitive, I'm sorry the people in Mountaindale feel that way. We thought we were doing the best. I did meet with Erna and Willie.
After the
No,
damage was done.
I don't want to get into a debate, I just want to convey the way I saw it. We did, and, you know, she conveyed to me, which I knew would happen with Renaissance. After 20 years, 25 years, we get older, we move, we can't do the work we used to, not because we don't want to, we physically can't. So our group of 20, same thing happened in Sheldrake, a group of 20 becomes 8, 7, 5, and you can't do it. So everything has fallen on the Parks Department. We can't physically do it. I don't take your comments lightly. The trees are a different issue. Those crab trees were dead. We had the same thing in Sheldrake. We could argue it wasn't, it was. It's just the way we saw it from the town. There was a grant. Those trees were eating into the court. We could debate, you know, how far, what. The lights were in there from 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Everything came down. And I get it. You don't have the manpower. And we really don't either. We try and do the best we can with part-time help. I'd like to come and meet with you, see what we can do to make it nice where you'd be happy. So I'd be willing to come down and go over with you.
I would certainly join you if you would like to.
And see what we can do.
Do you want me to set up an appointment?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay, if everybody could just give me your phone numbers afterwards, I'll get in touch.
I think that's the best way from here
Yeah.
to
It's a matter of probably, you know.
Yeah, we can't erase the past, but let's make the future a little better.
That was the heartbreaking part, that those dead trees were just about to flower, and if we could have just seen them flower
I
one
don't
more
want-
time.
yeah,
I have crabapple trees that are 75 years old.
I
They
know.
look like they're dead, they're not.
The bottom line
They were
is,
in-
even if they were alive, they're gone. And we could only try to plant something that would make the residents and the people
I
that
don't
work
want to
there
get into the
happy.
debate we had.
We felt they were dead, maybe
had-
we were wrong.
We had in
You know.
Sheldrake the same thing. We
Yeah.
planted them in boxes and 15, 18 years later, yeah, they're dead.
Right.
But
Nate, the bottom
We could
line
debate.
is consult with the people in the town. There's no excuse for
We're not
that
gonna-
not occurring.
Nate, we have no
Okay.
more public comment. I don't want to get into a debate
Yeah.
with people.
So,
That's
if
not-
everybody wants to
We're
just
gonna
give me
meet
your
and we're
phone
gonna try to
number.
figure out what we could plan to
I'm
make
talking
it.
about the future.
Right,
That's
Okay,
what we're
that's
talking
all.
about.
okay.
Okay, so moving on.
Moving on. Department head update. Parks, Let's change it up. Harris, see you later.
What a segue. Good evening, town of Fallsburg. I would also like to sit in on that meeting as well, when you guys do.
Of course.
So you can add my name and number to the list. Parks are in full swing. Let me take you back to some colder times since the last time I was here. So we spent the winter, snow removal, as Mother Nature pounded on us. Got the parks looking good, had a lot of tree removals, a lot of downed trees, I should say, debris, branches, what have you. So the parks did a good job cleaning it up, getting everything ready for this year, this season. On top of that, we had a huge success with our daffodil garden. We planted over 6,000 daffodils with the Worldwide Daffodil Project as part of that coalition. I didn't individually count them, but I'd say we were pretty close to all 6,000 blooming in our 4 gardens that we made. 2 on our entrances, 1 in our Veterans Garden, and 1 up by our pickleball court, which I'll talk more about. Our boats, our pool, the campground, the fields, the cafe, the pickleball courts are all open 7 days a week till 9 p.m. Oh, not the cafe, but we are rocking and rolling over at the parks. We are upgrading our park entrances along with creating 2 new gardens in our main office area. New fences, planters, adding more perennials that are deer resistant, not deer proof. And also creating a new parking lot area to help sustain with our visitors and our daily demand at the park. We just finished our Cornell Cooperative project, which we were awarded just under $50,000 to help with promoting healthy habits along the O&W Trail. We implemented benches, garbages, bike repair stations, bike racks, signage. We stenciled the roads to help indicate where our trails are. We're trying to connect from town to town. We started at where they put the overlook, where they put the bypass, and we got all the way up to Crum Road. I highly encourage the town to go take a look and participate on the trails. Right now we are getting ready for our July 5th celebration at the park. We hope to see everybody there. There will be entertainment, food, inflatables, anything that you can ask for will be there. We welcome everybody and anybody to join us. Fireworks show at the end. It's always a big hit. Our Solar 180 project this season, we are in the process of moving Ingber Park. I think I played in that playground 100 years ago. We are moving that to the basketball court along the railset trails to incorporate it. So on top of creating a new park and a new place for families to congregate, we are now promoting them to use our trails. I think the trail in this town is an awesome feature. It's great to utilize it and promote it and market it more. So this will help with that on top of creating a better environment, a safer environment for the kids and families that participate at the park, at Ingber Park. We hosted a youth fishing tournament about 2 weeks ago. It was a great success. The only bad thing was the wind, but it didn't stop our participants from coming out. And we can't wait for the continuous years. Right now we are steady and busy with keeping up with landscaping, our garbage, beautification, including planting and watering. We have a water truck that has routes that goes on weekly and daily. We are implementing new signage throughout the towns. And as always, we are here for whatever the town needs when they need it.
Summer.
Yes, thank you. We are also starting a summer camp this year. Right now, we're just about to kick off July 6th. We have a huge success of attendance, our participants, signees, I should say. We're looking at probably close to 100 kids right now that are going to be participating in our summer camp over at Morningside Park. It's really a great thing. Barbie Newman-Marty has joined us and is helping run that. She's done a fantastic job getting everything implemented between the Department of Health and just the logistics of running a summer camp. It is not easy, and we thank her for joining us and helping with that. And we look forward to huge success in the future with the camp.
Can you just quickly remind people why you're moving the Ingber Park?
Ingber Park is not safe where it is. Last year, 4 cars, went through the fence. That is why that temporary fence is there. It sits right on the main road. It's not a safe place to be between people walking across the street or walking from Landau's to the park, to the basketball court. So we want to make a more centralized location with the basketball court, the trails, the park. This way we can enjoy it in a safe way. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Harris, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So Mountaindale Park, I understand that, we closed the pool, it'll cost us $1 million to replace it, and, and I, temporarily would support that decision. However, when I was there on Sunday, I noticed that a no swimming sign was put up at the Mountaindale Lake, and I know a lot of people use that lake, I've used that lake, seasonal people use the lake, year-rounders use that lake, so now that lake is off limits, and I love that park, and I just wanna try to understand why is there no swimming allowed in that lake?
Well, I think from a liability issue, it's unsafe to be unsupervised while you're swimming. That's one. Two, there's no supervision for it. So we want to promote safety. So closing that.
So do you know how many lawsuits we've had over there in the last 10, 20 years?
No, I could jump in because I started that. I checked with Richard. It's a liability for the town for unsupervised swimming. We did have a pool, and he gave me a litany of reasons, and that's why we posted the signs of no swimming.
The
It's
warning
a
sign
strictly
doesn't have
liability.
no swimming signs?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And on what end?
On every
All
end.
over.
All over.
I just drove around the whole park, I couldn't
No.
find anything.
Go look.
So, all right, so for liability reasons, nobody could swim in the lakes?
Yes.
Good enough.
You make the meeting.
And I checked with
There was a
Richard.
concern with the Parks Department, and there was a concern because there was no pool available, that they would seek to use the unsupervised swimming in the lake, and they didn't consider it to be safe.
Oh, so, and actually, people don't have the pool, so they would
Please
assume to
respect
go to
the
the lake.
meeting.
And
There's a
that's-
meeting going on.
Right, that's why we put the signs. I checked with Richard on what liability, if any, the town would have if people swam unsupervised. And he gave me a ruling, and that's why
It's
we
not
put the
really
signs
ruling,
in.
but it's an opinion, that's whether it's raised. And there were also some question about what the condition of the edges of the lake are, the drop-offs and other things that were, specific, so the Parks Department made that recommendation.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So will you have somebody there turning people away, because people are gonna go and, they're used to swimming in the lake.
We have somebody on staff.
And-
I'm sure people are gonna go in.
Oh, yeah.
We can only do our part, put up signage and patrol it the best we can.
I even thought about possibly, do we put a lifeguard? They have to take different certification. It is a lake. There's snakes, there's turtles. The town would really be open to, and what about the 6 hours that we man it? We're saying it's okay to go in the water. And I went over all those scenarios with Richard, and I was too much of a burden on the town.
Okay. All right.
I just want to mention one thing.
Okay.
I know people make public comments, but, using improper language at a public hearing, I don't think we should tolerate. And I would ask you in the future to cut off whoever that person, it's just inappropriate. Because women, people get offended, and men, not just women.
And children sometimes.
And children. Okay. I think we should be cautious of that in the future.
See what you're saying. All right, moving on to the agenda. Item 1, motion to approve town board minutes dated 6/24/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 2, motion to approve warrant 06B26 dated 6/22/26 in the amount of $2,862,383.39.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Item 3, motion to accept the resignation of Dallas Harmon as assessor clerk with a last day of 7/3/26.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Item 4, motion to approve the employment of the following: Sierra Velasquez as a lifeguard with an hourly rate of $20.25 an hour effective 6/19/26. Alexander McBride, deputy, an hourly rate of $21.25 effective 6/29/26. Aiden Siegel as a lifeguard with an hourly rate of $20.25 effective 6/29/26. Justin Parsons as a head lifeguard with an hourly rate of $24 an hour effective 6/29/26. Sarah Willett as an assistant head lifeguard with an hourly rate of $23.50 effective 6/29/26. Yolna Phillip as an office clerk with an hourly rate of $16.25 effective 6/29/26. Peyton Varner as an office clerk with an hourly rate of $16.25 effective 6/29/26.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5, motion to introduce local law number 5 of 2026, amending the zoning map of the town of Fallsburg, entitled Zoning Map Amendment pertaining to tax map number 63-1-4 and 62-1-20.1, which local law would amend Article 3 of Chapter 310 of the town zoning code by altering the official zoning map to change the zoning designation of tax map number 63-1-4 and 62-1-20.1, located at Glenwild Road and Old Glenwild Road in Woodridge, New York, from agriculture to industrial, referring the proposed local law to the Sullivan County Planning Department for General Municipal Law 239 review, and settling a public hearing for 7/22/26 at 6 p.m.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 6, motion to approve the supervisor to sign the Frank Brown Road Agreement, decommissioning agreement, and authorizing the supervisor to sign the owner's Stoppel and oil and gas affidavit in form approved by the town attorney.
Second.
All in favor? So to explain this has to do, and Richard, if you want to jump in, with a proposed solar field.
All right, so the town has leased the Frank Brown Road landfill for purposes of development of a solar farm. It's gone through the planning process and it's in the development process. The road agreement has to do with access. The decommissioning agreement is an updated version of the decommissioning agreement that was approved August 26, 2025? No. November. It's the same agreement less, there was a language in there with a 12-month period that would cause them to decommission it if it hadn't been built. So that language was taken out. So essentially it's the same agreement. It puts up $150,000 and it has an actuarial fund balance assumption as part of the agreement, and that is available if the system needs to be decommissioned. That's there to decommission at no cost to the town. It's a heavily supervised project because the state is involved in all of the solar projects under definition of the state law, under seeker. Definitionally, a solar farm placed on the top of a closed landfill does not have environmental impact. It's statutory. So these are technical things. The estoppel certificate has to do with certain conditions of the property, which there's one paragraph that I have a question about, which we have to work through. But that's a certificate that more or less says the town is unaware of any violations affecting this, any challenges and so on. It has to do with either their application process, the financing, or whatever else they're doing. And then the oil and gas affidavit has to do with an ancient oil and gas lease that encumbers the property. It's a minor title problem. These oil and gas affidavits are routinely signed to clear title so that the property can be financed and so on.
Thank you. And this is one of the few uses, it might be the only use, which will generate revenue for the town for a closed landfill, which has a liner, and on top of the liner, there's several feet of dirt, but we're very limited to what we could do on that site, and this is an allowed use that will bring some revenue to the town.
And it's, just since we got into some of the construction details, they essentially float this thing on top of large spread footing type
Yes.
piers, so none of the required reclamation capping is punctured by this. So there's no compromise, and the landfill continues to be monitored in the same manner as it's been monitored for the many years since it was closed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
We did.
It's Mike and Joe.
All right, so next, I can go into the developers agreement. What the developers agreement is in this instance is, there is a development called Rosewood Park Holdings, which has been approved and mostly built. All of the improvements are built, however, there are certain site features that have not been built, and in order to allow occupancy, there needs to be security put up for the developer to finish their obligations. The developer has agreed to put the sum of $370,664.31 into an escrow account held to the credit of the town, and if they don't do what they're supposed to do within a one-year period, then the town can utilize that money in order to complete it. It's held in escrow. The estimates were prepared by the applicant and tested and approved by our own engineering team, and this is a fairly standard way to essentially provide security for certain site work. Happens a lot with paving. You finish a project construction at the end of the season, but the blacktop plants are closing down. You can't blacktop when there's no blacktop plants, so you put money into blacktop at a later date. This has other things that are basically site plan features that need to be completed. And the name, the common name, or the former name, it's called Rosewood Estates, but it was formerly known as Fallsburg Estates. And it has to do a lot with the stormwater management, erosion, the roadway, and then additional site plan items with regard to water, sewer, playgrounds, and to prepare an as-built survey. So if there are minor variations during the course of construction, the as-built survey will be the official location of where everything is, once it's completed, and once construction is completed. So there is a budget item for that.
Fantastic, thank you, Richard. So item 7, motion to approve the supervisor to sign the developers agreement for Rosewood Estates condominium.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 8, resolution number 51 of 2026, authorizing application for a Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant, the WIA grant.
Just to remind you that Pam was asking who has the grant for that and what.
Okay. So these are both grants that we unsuccessfully applied for last year, and we are reapplying, and it's as simple as to improve our water infrastructure. This is one of many of the grants that we've applied for, and I believe that Helen Budrock, who does the majority of our grant writing, is involved in preparing this.
Can you just explain the
It's just for
credentials
the
of
water,
it?
it's just for the water.
These upgrades for what we
I'm
talked about
just saying, I
constantly.
think she was questioning why
I
you
mean,
picked who you picked.
Because it's $2 million a mile to replace the water mains. Currently in the town, many of our water mains are 70, 80, and even older years old. Many of the water mains, especially most of our better producing wells, are all located under or near the Neversink River. Many of them are near the prison. Those wells feed not only our water mains, but our storage tanks. The lines that run from the well field to the storage tanks are mostly 8-inch in diameter, which is not adequate, and they're older pipes. So when we turn up the wells to meet the demand to feed our tanks in our system, we have breaks because these are older pipes that just can't handle the volume and pressure. So $2 million a mile, we have 70 miles of water mains without even discussing sewer. So it's, you know, that's $140 million just to, and not all of it needs to be replaced, but a substantial part does. So the plan that we have for the fall is to replace a large portion of the water mains that go from these well fields to our tanks. The reason why we're doing it, honestly, whether we get the grants or not, is the state is paving Route 42, and if we don't do this work in that area before the paving, the state will not allow us to work in the area of a new freshly paved road for, I think, up to 10 years. So.
I think she's questioning why you picked Helen though.
She's our grant writer.
She's our grant writer.
Okay.
Probably questioning why the town picked me too, but gotta work with what we have. All right, number 8, resolution number 51 of 2026, authorizing application for a water infrastructure improvement act, a WIA grant.
Motion.
Do I have a
All right,
second?
who says the motion?
Arnold.
All say it
All
at
of
the
us.
same time.
Arnold
Glad
and
you're all
Miranda.
for it.
Arnold and Miranda.
There was a tie.
Okay, all in favor? Now, I'm joking, of course, with that comment with Pam. Pam, I apologize if you're still online. Today was a very busy day in town hall. I did not have the opportunity to answer your email. She sent an email questioning many of the items on our agenda, and all kidding aside, I'm doing my best to explain it and have our staff explain it at this point, so. Number 9, resolution number 52 of 2026, authorizing application for a New York State Climate Smart Communities Grant.
Motion.
All in favor?
So she also asked what that one was for, that one's for your, the highway.
Correct.
Just
Interested in knowing a little bit about that grant, that's all. I'm interested.
Okay. If you're interested, I can certainly set up where Helen can come in and dive into the specifics of it, because there's a lot to it.
Okay, don't,
It's for the new highway barn though.
Yeah.
That one.
So we are moving our highway barn to our annex where the prison, the state gave us their old annex. The highway barn that we've been using for many years doesn't fit our trucks, all of our trucks, and is in the winter, the temperature in the office of this barn, you know, when it's on a cold day, doesn't get above 40 degrees, where our secretaries and the staff. We're spending a lot of money on new trucks. Most of these trucks are forced to sit outside, and this year was a big problem with our cold temperatures. Even with some of these trucks being plugged in, they weren't able to start when they were needed. So we're utilizing some of the existing buildings that were at the annex site and retrofitting them, and we're also looking to build a new garage that, with the existing buildings, can house all of our equipment inside.
Pam Wagner gave you a thumbs up, by the way.
Okay. Thank you, Pam. All right, item 10. We did vote on 9, right?
Yes.
Item 10, resolution number 53 of 2026, authorizing adoption by the town board of the town of Fallsburg of local law number 3 of 2026 entitled Town of Fallsburg Right to Farm Law.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Can I ask that you, there's so many people here tonight, I'd like to get it out about the veteran flags.
Okay. So, a few years back, the town, we're one of the few towns that completely subsidized with grant money and some donors, veterans flags for town residents who served in the military. Many of these signs, some people were critical of the design and how tough these banners were to read, the size of the banners, and with that, many of the banners have fallen down, and we have recovered some of them, and some of them we have not. So,
And a lot of the veterans would like them to be in their hamlet instead of 42.
correct. So, I approached some of our county legislators, because many of them have discretionary funds each year. So I approached, the town of Fallsburg has 3 legislators that represent different portions of the town. Two of them were not able to accommodate, but legislator Joe Perillo was willing to give a portion, a substantial portion, if not all, of his $10,000 discretionary fund to replace these banners. With my experience in the printing business privately, I asked my sister, who is a graphic artist, if she would be willing to donate a new design to these banners. And we are awaiting samples from 2 different companies to produce them. And once we have the samples, I'm going to show them to the public and to get the opinion of which way we should go. They're going to be larger, a much cleaner design, and we're going to look to replace all of the banners that we had initially, and we're also reaching out to the residents. If any family members would like to be represented, we would try to accommodate them with a new banner as well.
The application's online.
Applications online.
I also reached out to our local AMVets, to have them pass the word as well, and it's on our main page that Jen creates.
And with the, the anniversary of the country, the 250 this year, and the fact that veterans are very important to all of us. Paula is an Army veteran, and Mike Bensimon is an Air Force veteran, so we have 2 veterans that are on the board. We wanted to show our appreciation by, giving them the recognition they deserve.
So Nick, the other 2 legislators.
So I don't want to be critical of them for not giving us the money. It was late in the game, and
Maybe they spent it somewhere else.
I believe they spent it. I don't want to say they didn't feel like it was a worthy cause. They didn't, just couldn't accommodate, and it was, getting near the time where they had to have it spent. We were fortunate that Joey, actually, Legislator Perillo, actually was one of the first ones to reach out to me saying, these banners don't look great, what can we do? And it's with the banner and the hardware to hang it up, it's roughly, like $200 a banner, and we're gonna have somewhere in the neighborhood of, we expect, with the ones that we're replacing, new ones, around 100, so it's $20,000. So we've kind of internally discussed, because many towns put a portion of money in and then ask the families to pay for the rest of their family banner. There's other options where we're thinking about taking the banners we have and maybe offering them to the family for a donation. We haven't figured it out, and there's a chance that we might just subsidize whatever the balance is. We have not made that decision yet, but we are going to replace them one way or the other. So, I do believe that, Richard, you said we have an executive
session, 1 item of litigation. We're going to keep it short, just 1 action item.
Okay, so we're
Motion
going.
to executive session.
All in favor? Aye. I do not expect that we're going to be returning. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe and enjoyable 4th, and we'd love to see you at our celebration.